Right, okay, so I managed to undo all the pipes off this tank now. These pipes go to the track motors. I've taken the track motors out. So I can now take off this entire hydraulic block here. It's 4 volts. That will drop down. I need to get this tank out. That's going to be tricky. I'm going to try that now. Once the tank's out, I'm going to drill this hole up here. If I get that hole drilled ready for the voltage regulator, sorry, I should say voltage indicators, that's the correct term. I've got to take this air clock out. This is ready to go on a pallet to be shot blasted. So I'm going to have a go at the tank next. There is a sheared bolt on the left side which I think may be stopping it coming out at the moment. But you'll see in a minute the shape of the tank. It's a very unique design for this machine. I'll try and get the tank out now so that you can have a look. As you can see, I've removed the tank and the tank is an odd shape. If you look here, it's shaped cutouts here, and that's so that it doesn't come any lower than this. So in pulling the tank this way, I have to lift it up to get over this and then keep banging it from that way and get the tank out. But in doing so, I've had to remove this cover, and this cover is on with a seal, and the reason that cover's there, you probably can't see, is inside there is a filter. I'd be interested to see how much crud is accumulated on that. So there's 2 filters on this. There's a tank filter there, which obviously is on the suction side, and then there's another filter in the top header tank, so it's filtering the oil twice. So even if this one fails, you've got another one. This one you can't get to without taking the tank out anyway. So it's just impossible to do. So yeah, I should be cleaning this tank up and having a look to see how much crud is in there and changing that filter. Next job is to remove this hydraulic valve block here. There, and that's with the 4 bolts there. Once that's off, I can take all these pipes out of the way, take the hour clock off and put a new one on when I've finished. And I've got to drill a hole for the voltage indicator. And then this will be ready to be sent off to be powder coated. I'm not going to powder coat this tank. I'm just going to clean it up and spray it. It doesn't get any kind of wear or abuse. This bit will get might get a little bit of crud on it. But all this is completely contained within this chassis, so I don't see the point really. This will all get powder coated anyway, so it's a good bit of protection there. If any oil ever drops out of here, look, and there's a channel running down there, drops out through there. And yeah, I've managed to get these self-tensioning springs out for the tracks, so they're going to get cleaned up. Hopefully they can be reused. I can't see why not, just cleaned up and put back in. Right, okay, so that's that stage done. So we'll move on to stripping the rest of that down, and then it's all ready for powder coating. Right, I've drilled out these holes here. Now, these are going to be the mounting holes. One there, I've used the existing one there, and there's 2 at the front. These are the mounting holes for the bracket that holds the engine and the rubber mounts. I've drilled this hole out here ready for the voltage indicator. I've also managed to unscrew this filter, and a closer inspection, it's pretty crudded up. So it's 20 years worth of mud and goodness knows what else has got in that tank. This will get completely steam cleaned out now, and then I can put a new filter in before I put the tank back on. So the only thing I've got left to do, I've also removed the valve block, as you can see. The only thing I've got left to do now is just take off the hour clock, and I've got to take off this serial number plate, and then be job done. Right, so this is the bit that I've been putting off for a long time. This is really an attempt to try and drive this pin out that's seized in here. And now I brought this jack. This is a 50-ton jack, and it was specifically in the description that it would work on its side. So the idea was that I was going to position this on its side and try and drive the pin out. In doing so, it turns out this doesn't work on its side. So after a bit of toing and froing with the company that sold it to me. They've given me some money back. So I've had Gary make this up. This is just a cap to go over the top, stop this chain coming off. The chain goes right around the whole unit, and then underneath here I've got a collar which goes over the shaft, and then a spacer. And the idea is of trying to get the force of this just to drive this pin. It doesn't need to travel very far. Once it's gone probably about an inch, it should come out. So this is the next job now. I'm going to just try and jack this up 50 ton and see if that works. If it doesn't, then I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board. Right, okay, so I've started the jacking process. I actually originally had one chain on there, and the chain snapped. So I've doubled up the chains now. I've got two on there. It is bending the sidewall there, and it's also bent it in down here, but I'm not worried because that can be straightened. This is just more important to try and get this pin out. I can't stop the jack from tilting slightly, but it is resting right where I want it to put the pressure. So I'm just going steady with it because I'm in the firing line if this chain breaks. If I do get a chain break, then it's game over and I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board. But at the moment, these are under enormous pressure. So I've sprayed it all with WD-40 and I'm just leaving it to sit for a few minutes before I carry on. I'm just doing a little bit at a time, hoping that that'll be enough pressure to release the pin. So just an update, I had two chains on this. I got up to 50 ton of pressure because the jack wouldn't work anymore. I then got a lever on the handle and there was a bit of a bang. The shaft moved just a fraction. However, the shaft was then hitting the two chains, and it's also bent this in too much, so I've had to stop. I've now resorted to hitting that with a sledgehammer, and it has started to move. Well, it doesn't look like it. It has moved probably about 20 mil. I'm going to carry on slogging that and see how far I could drive that through. It hasn't got to go that far before it's released. So, right, let's have a go at that, see if I can get that to move. Okay, jaw is out, as you can see. Just got it on the forks of the machine. There's the shaft. It's pretty well rusted. And I'll show you the jaw quickly. And there's the jaw. So, just got to get these two stubs out here. Oh, excuse the camera. Just got to get this stub out here and this stub out there. It's just been cut off. A little bit of welding to do on this jaw, and then this jaw can be sandblasted and just refurbed a little bit. And then on this, so you can see here, this is where it's got bent with the chains. And it's got bent under here, but that'll get heated up and straightened. It took about 2 hours to get that particular jaw out. There's the remnants of some of the scaffold poles that I've had to cut off and use as wedges to try and drive it out. So if I show you the end of the shaft, you'll see the end of the shaft is slightly smaller than the outside, and you can get a tube to go over that. And I've got the proper things that go in a press, which I've used, but I've written 2 of those off trying to drive this out, and I didn't want to get those stuck in. So this took quite a long time, but once I'd got it moving and past the point of no return, it was easier with every whack of the sledgehammer. So really pleased to have got that done, because that's the last major job on this refurb. I've got the chassis here. This is a tiny little bit of work on expanding one of the holes for the voltage regulator, voltage indicator I should say. The tank's ready for a refurb. That's all been flushed out. So I'm nearly ready to get this over to Gary. There's quite a lot to do on this. So I'll run through what's going to be done on that later on. Once Gary's done the work on that, I can send all these bits off for shop blasting, painting, and then it's a slow process of putting the machine back together. So yeah, really pleased to have got that out. That's another job done anyway. last major job. So as you can see, we're almost at the bare bones. There's one last job I need to get Gary to do. And the only reason to get Gary to do it is he's got the gas axe. I don't have a gas axe. I've got to, this bolt won't come out, so I can't get in there to cut it out. So I'm going to get Gary to gas axe that out. And there's another one just there. Then I can get this front crusher plate out. This front crusher plate, the teeth are pretty good on it. So I'll probably just use that in another machine, put a new one in this one. I've got a spare one. Because it's not part of the machine, I don't want this to stay in there and get shot blasted with all the rest of the machine. So yeah, that's got to come out as well. And I'll run through some of the other bits that I'm going to do to this machine that's going to modify it to be a better specification than the previous machines. I've got some good ideas of things I want to do. Okay, so that's good. That's that part done. And yeah, hopefully catch you on the next one.